Let's get to it. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Ben's Microvision Podcast, a podcast for general information and entertainment purposes only, not a financial advice podcast. If you're new here, my name's Ben. I was Microvision's Global Product Manager for wearable displays between 2006 and 2011, and I'm continuing on my quest to bring you the best Microvision-related information that I can each week. So thanks so much for stopping by. Please do like, subscribe, add a comment, let me know what's on your mind, and contribute to the show. And I will be thrilled to respond to each one of your comments here on the YouTube channel. This week's episode is going to be titled Big Tech AR Wars, as we heard some pretty monumental news that maybe was expected by some, but not everybody, which is that Apple is going to be entering the AR glasses market. And what could be better? So we're going to look at this from every angle, and I look forward to getting into it. Who can believe it's already episode 19 of Ben's Microvision Podcast? This one's titled Big Tech AR Wars, presented by myself and brought to you by LaserRoasted.com, my specialty coffee company. One cup and you'll say, make mine laser roasted. Here we have a disclaimer. It is the same disclaimer that we have had on previous episodes. Go ahead and take a screenshot and familiarize yourself with the terms and conditions here. And otherwise, get ready to enjoy the show. All right, the story is all over the internet this week. Apple reportedly scraps Lighter Vision Pro in favor of smart glasses. Here's what's coming. This is the Tom's Guide article. The original article was in Bloomberg. And it goes like this. A refreshed Apple Vision Pro headset leaked by the FCC today, October 1, is expected to launch in the coming weeks. And at some point between now and 2027, Apple was expected to follow up that device with the Vision Air, a lighter and cheaper version of its headset. But that may no longer be the game plan in Cupertino. A new report from Bloomberg claims that Apple has dropped plans for its Lighter Vision Pro. Allegedly, this move was made as part of an internal pivot to work on a set of smart glasses in the vein of the Meta Ray-Ban offerings. CEO Tim Cook has long cited a desire to produce a set of Apple glasses, with the most recent rumors claiming that the product would debut in 2027. According to Gurman, Apple is developing two types of Apple smart glasses. One, dubbed N50, would pair with your iPhone and lack a display, not unlike Meta's Spectacles. This model will allegedly be revealed next year ahead of a 2027 launch. The other frames would feature a display meant to challenge the recently announced Meta Ray-Ban display. Apple's version was originally targeting a 2028 release, according to reports. However, with this new reported pivot, it appears Apple is seeking to accelerate development. Apple's specs are supposed to be heavily integrated with voice controls and AI, an area where Apple has struggled mightily. Meanwhile, back in May, Google introduced their own Android XR glasses featuring their Gemini artificial intelligence service. Here's a quick article written by their VP and GM, Shahram Izadi. Last week, we shared how Gemini and Android work together to help you get things done on your phone, your watch, your TV, and your car's display. Now we're thinking about where it can help you next. What if your AI assistant could see the world from your perspective and offer hands-free help? That's the vision driving our latest advancements in Android XR. It's the first Android platform built in the Gemini era, and it powers an ecosystem of headsets, glasses, and everything in between. With Gemini on these devices, you can have an assistant that's right there with you, sharing your vantage point, ready to help whenever you start the conversation. This frees up your hands so you can stay present and engaged with the world around you, whether it's real or virtual. For over a decade, we've been working on the concept of smart glasses. With Android XR, we're taking a giant leap forward. Equipped with a camera, microphones, and speakers, these glasses work in tandem with your phone, giving you access to your apps without ever having to reach in your pocket. And an optional in-lens display privately provides helpful information right when you need it. Pairing these glasses with Gemini means they see and hear what you do, so they understand your context, remember what's important to you, and can help you throughout your day. Today's sneak peek showed how Android XR glasses will work in real-world scenarios, including messaging friends, making appointments, asking for turn-by-turn directions, taking photos, and more. We even demoed live language translation between two people, showing the potential for these glasses to break down language barriers, giving you subtitles for the real world. We are working with brands and partners to bring this technology to life. We know that glasses can only truly be helpful if you want to wear them all day. Today we announced that we're partnering with innovative eyewear brands starting with Gentle Monster and Warby Parker to create stylish glasses with Android XR. So that's all great, but what about seasoned dried meat? Please do check out laserroasted.com for our variety of fresh roasted-to-order coffees and delicious seasoned jerkies that you are sure to love. So there you have Apple and Google, the two titans of cell phone domination, going now toe-to-toe in the AR glasses marketplace. It's quite a sight, but that's not it. Here's an article from back in September. Amazon developing consumer AR glasses to rival Meta. Amazon.com is developing augmented reality glasses for consumers, the information reported on Wednesday, citing two people with knowledge of the plans. A move that would put the company in competition with Facebook owner Meta. The glasses, internally codenamed Jayhawk, will include microphones, speakers, a camera, and a full-color display in one eye, the report said. Amazon is aiming to roll out the product to consumers in late 2026 or early 2027. Amazon declined a Reuters request for comment on the report. The project would mark Amazon's entry into the consumer AR glasses market. The company has already been working on specialized eyewear for delivery drivers, according to a Reuters exclusive report last year. Those eyeglasses would provide turn-by-turn navigation on a small screen along routes and at each stop, Reuters reported at the time. Both models use the same underlying display technology according to the information. The consumer version will have a full-color display and a sleeker, less bulky design than the delivery model, the information reported. The delivery worker glasses could debut as soon as the second quarter of 2026, with an initial production plan of about 100,000 units, the report said. Amazon's consumer AR glasses would compete directly with Meta Platforms, which is expected to unveil a new version of its AR glasses at its Connect conference next week, which it did. Meta partnered with EssilorLuxottica's Oakley earlier this year on AI-powered smart glasses, following the success of its Ray-Ban Meta line, which has sold in the millions since its 2023 launch, media reports said. So here's your backdrop for big tech AR wars. Each one of the companies listed here is producing or has already produced augmented reality glasses for consumers, and we can see this is the new battleground as it becomes evident to each of these companies that the next wave of consumer mobility is about see-through fashion eyewear embedded with full-color, high-brightness, daylight-readable displays. So Apple sees what Meta is doing and they say no more bulky headsets just yet. Instead, let's go for fashion eyewear and protect ourselves, right? Meta has been unbelievably aggressive producing these Ray-Ban display glasses, according to these articles, selling millions of eyewear glasses without even displays in them. So they're doing something right. They're doing something right with the fashion focus. They're going to be highly advantaged by their partnership with EssilorLuxottica because they'll be able to sell prescription lens products that contain the display. And I don't know how these other companies are going to be able to deal with that, but I guess they're going to try. Apple needs to protect their dominant market share on cell phones and consumer mobility, so they're making this defensive move. Google, they kind of pioneered this space themselves with Google Glass, of which our good friend Sumit Sharma was on their development team. And, despite whatever bad press they got, it was an innovative product. And these new products, your Ray-Ban glasses, are basically the same thing. They just have a more fashionable frame. So Google is going to establish themselves as a platform provider, infrastructure provider, and they've got the idea to enable partners such as your Samsungs of the world with Android XR operating system, with the software and services to create the user experience that the hardware manufacturers would go and produce. And then Amazon, what do you think about this? They're not a consumer hardware provider per se. They've got the Amazon Echo smart speaker, but that's probably the number one thing you think of when it comes to Amazon as a consumer electronics company. Now, wearing Amazon glasses on your face, is that going to be a real thing? I'm sure Amazon wants it, but basically the table is set. With all that as the backdrop in 2025, let's go on a journey back in time to my presentation that I created in 2009 to describe the consumer eyewear opportunity as it pertained to microvision. Here we see our hero character in the subway getting some great news. The contract is a go. Now the real work starts. So I contemplated 3 time horizons. Yesterday, where everybody was kind of disconnected, they had mobile phones, but it had a limited utility. You could call somebody up and talk to them, and people demanded more. And then today, or at least the world of 2009, we had the emergence of location-based services. Content and information that could be presented to you on a mobile phone was relative to where you are. You had personal navigation, you had your friend finder, and there was location-based search and navigation. And then tomorrow, which is now becoming today, the extended world. You can extend everyday computing experience to your eyewear display. This slide was my attempt in 2009 to help people visualize Microvision's legacy of innovation in both head-mounted displays as well as the electronics that support them. So here we can see the original HMD from Microvision was a rather large helmet-mounted display, accompanied with a refrigerator-sized box that powered the electronics and the lasers. With every successive generation, the form factor of the display has gotten smaller and smaller, lighter, and the electronics have also been reduced in volume. So you go from a large refrigerator box to a lunch pail box to a belt clippable type box to a lanyard, and then ultimately into the temple piece of the eyewear frames themselves. So Microvision, there's 10 years of innovation embedded in this slide. But then there's been another 15 years since then where the electronics have further miniaturized, the entire module is further miniaturized, and what says future is now today. So it's pretty amazing. For those of you who don't remember, Microvision had a product called the Nomad, which was a see-through wearable display in a monochrome red that was targeted for industrial and military segments, and the primary use case was around repair shops so that the repair people could have access to all the content and information necessary to fix the engine or perform the repair without having to have their hands on a piece of paper or look away from what they were doing. So it was kind of the first implementation of a heads-up, hands-free enterprise-type application. And so, it's kind of interesting that was the primary use case that the HoloLens 2 people included in their promotional video for the launch of HoloLens 2. It was around this time we were working on a series of projects for the U.S. Air Force to create a see-through eyewear form factor display. And this was, to my knowledge, the very first time that a laser scanning projector had been mated with a waveguide that was intended to take the laser light and direct it to the user's eye. So I was very fortunate to be there during the development of this absolutely potentially world-changing type of technology. It was very early. So there's a lot of stories I could tell you about this, but creating the very first substrate-guided relay optics was a big technical challenge. We produced that, and we also produced some subsequent generations of that to support the Department of Defense. One of the key things that I was trying to create as product manager for the eyewear vertical was this idea that we could go from the military to the consumer by virtue of building high-value situational awareness capabilities for soldiers that would be expensive, that would drive out some of the cost and the technical risk associated with the product, to get to a point where a mass market product could be produced that was all about private, informed, connected mobility for consumers. So 16 years after I made this, we now see Meta pursuing a similar strategy, maybe not time sequenced in the same way, but military applications to bring out your leading edge, top level specification, and then your consumer application that's going to have reduced specs, but a better form factor, and of course a lower price. It's pretty fun to relive this, but here we can see one of the killer applications that we envisioned, which was our mobility on the go. Our hero character is receiving a message from his friend Ted. Ted is in the coffee hut on his left. Dude, hurry up. Julie just stopped by. Want me to stall her? And he's listening to Matchbox 20 on his headphones that are embedded into the glasses. If you were at all skeptical that eyewear would be the right form factor for augmented reality applications, well, maybe this slide would convince you. You used to have to look down at a phone screen to see some kind of location-based content or find the Pikachu or whatever. And so your view of the world is limited to however big your phone screen is. You've got to have your hands occupied dealing with the phone. You've got a photograph of what it is you're looking at with the metadata, augmented information put on top of the photograph, and you can't see the screen in sunlight conditions. Whereas with Microvision mobile device eyewear, you can keep your head up. The augmented reality content is superimposed on your highest resolution view of the real world. You've got the context of your activity. You don't have to stop doing what you're doing to look down at the phone. And so it's only the content that needs to be overlaid. You don't need to regenerate the real world like with a photograph to then stamp something on top of it. You just need that extra bit of content to paste in place. And of course, the Microvision capability that's, I believe, going to be very, very important for the future of mobility and AR glasses is that these are readable in any ambient lighting condition. So when we went through the slide that showed all the HMDs throughout human history that microvision had produced, well, one very important common thread is that they are bright enough that you could be flying your fighter jet into the sun and you can still see this information. So that's the advantage that laser scanning gives you. You can enjoy this capability at home, sitting on the couch, playing an awesome video game, or you can enjoy it on the go, or striding confidently to your destination with the arrow to lead you where you need to be. How about notes in your glasses while you give a PowerPoint presentation with total confidence to a group of totally enraptured students or colleagues? You can't beat that. Here's a quick tour of the application space. Basically, everything that you can do with a mobile phone is made better by virtue of being private, informed, and connected, and of course, geolocated. Okay, last one. The purpose of this slide is to show you the ecosystem that needs to come together in order to bring this user experience to reality. You need to have a mobile device OEM, such as your Samsungs and Apples of the world. You need to have the OS, the applications and the content, which would be your Googles, Apples, and of course back then you had Research in Motion. You need to have your mobile operator who provides the bandwidth to serve all this content to the user in real time. And of course you need eyewear product and distribution. The eyewear product would contain the microvision laser scanning projector module. It would contain the eyewear lenses. It would contain the frame and whatever other technical content was needed. So you bring all this stuff together. Now you've got mobile device eyewear. It's private, informed, connected. Now this was 2009 and it's now 2025. So you could say I was 16 years too early for all this. But, I imagine that people have been working on this for quite some time without any real visibility. And my belief now is the same as it was then, which is this is going to be the single biggest category ever in consumer electronics. It's going to be way bigger than cell phones themselves because it's going to change the way that you actually view the world itself. And that's a pretty amazing thing when you think about it. Here's a video that Microvision put forward back in 2021 to help explain their pivot from augmented reality towards consumer and automotive LiDAR. And there's all of our AR headsets. The original draw to the company for myself, and probably for many of you out there watching, was Microvision's laser beam scanning display for near-eye display applications. We've been working on this for a long time, and as Sumit reminded everybody back in May, the company was founded for this segment. However, the marketing material and the investment in terms of technology development for the last 5 years has been all about automotive LiDAR. And maybe that's about to bear fruit, and that'll be really wonderful. But the original IP and technology that we developed, that's in the HoloLens 2, that's in the MVIS 1.2, may be about to meet its moment, which is now an inflection point in the market, which is the entry of Apple into the AR glasses universe. So what we're going to see is Apple, Google, Meta, Amazon, they're going to fight it out in the marketplace for augmented reality glasses supremacy. And what are the vectors of differentiation, right? How are they going to compete? Well, is it going to be about what's sleekest? Is it going to be about what's cheapest? It may be about what has the best display and what produces the daylight readable image with the wide field of view and the beautiful vibrant colors that a laser light source provides. We've seen the chart from Jason Hartlove, who is the boss of augmented reality at Meta, and his chart says that lasers are dramatically more power efficient than micro LEDs or LCOS panels. In a world where Apple, Amazon, Meta, and Google are all competing to provide the best AR glasses to the consumers of the world, and Microvision has a very unique and powerful technology capability, it might be a good idea to start telling the story about how Microvision can enable this multi-billion-dollar market. We could sell that module to all four of those guys. We could become the NVIDIA of augmented reality. And that's something we should aspire to. I think that's going to do it for this one. Thanks so much for hanging with me, going down memory lane, and evaluating the AR landscape. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, and all of your positive feedback means a lot to me. Thanks to everybody who bought on Laser Roasted. Check out the reviews. People are loving their coffee. So I hope you get a chance to check that out. And thanks again, and we'll see you next Saturday.